if you don't know what this is Talkaoke, pop-up talk show, where you can talk about whatever you want to talk about. It's kind of up to you. We don't know what we're going to be talking about tonight. It's kind of up to whoever comes and takes a seat. Welcome. Get yourself a drink and have a seat around the table of chat. Everyone's welcome. My name's Mikey. Let's find out who we got around the table. Come and take a seat. Come and have a seat. Don't be scared. This is electrically tested. It's all fine. It's all safe. We've got the insurance. Have a seat. So anyway, we'll start off over here. What's your name?
Naz.
Oh, I'm going to turn me down and you up. Go on.
Naz.
And
Judith.
Judith, welcome.
John.
Rick.
Bob.
And as I said, I'm Mikey. Come and take a seat. Don't be shy. I've got a lager, but that will be gone soon, so don't be scared to, top up. Has anyone got anything they want to get the ball rolling with? Anything they want to say? What happened to the music as well? We had music in here a minute ago.
Oh, I thought you might want it off.
No. Yeah. Because otherwise, look, it's a bit quiet, isn't it? It's a bit dead. So. What do people want to get the ball rolling? Any thoughts, suggestions, comments, observations, ideas? I'll be a bit quieter than that, though. Yeah.
Your dad and I were speaking about Skyscanner on my phone because he didn't understand. Not understand. That's an unfair word.
Yeah.
He doesn't feel that iPhones are useful,
right?
Or smartphones in general. So I was showing him Skyscanner so that he can get very cheap flights.
What is Skyscanner?
So Skyscanner is an app and/or website which you can use, and then you can adjust the dates for flights that you want to buy, basically.
Yeah.
Because I got some flights the other day to Frankfurt, Germany, for £20 return each.
Wow.
Which is cheaper. Equally, I went to Durham the other day for £106.
Right.
So it's actually cheaper to go to a different country in Europe than it is to go to a different city in England and or
I can relate to
So I was just showing your dad how to use
Skykins.com for flights.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So, but I think the main point is that having a smartphone is useful because you can. Have you ever bought any plane tickets on your?
No, you don't need a phone. Everybody's got a computer at home. Why do you want to carry around a computer in your bag? You only want something to phone your friends and your.
Okay. Do you need a computer in your pocket? I think is a question. You say yes.
Yeah, because in this day and age, everyone wants to get through to their emails, their hobbies, their likes, their friends. Some people work from home, so it's ideal to have a phone/computer in your bag.
Yeah. So it's about keeping in contact with friends.
Yeah, and not only that, people work on the tube nowadays. So they're going in and they're working.
People are on the tube working on their phones.
Working on their phones, yeah, because they're doing work-related calls and emails, and so initially their day doesn't start at work. It starts when they get on the tube on the way to work.
In the tube?
Overground, you can.
Okay. So people are working on their phones. They're working before they get into work. Yeah.
Also, you can get Wi-Fi on the underground. You just need to be with EE or Virgin, and then you can still do stuff.
I've noticed you can get it at different stations. So when you're between stations, you got no internet. So I had I was having a whole WhatsApp conversation, but it was only happening every time I got to a station. I got a text, I quick answer it, and then it disappeared.
So you don't even need to worry about being offline when you are.
Expecting people to work 24 hours a day, any time they're not asleep, they're working. That's what happened in the 19th century. And then the slave masters, if you stopped working, the slave masters used to whip you. Now you've got a machine that you carry around that whips you and makes you work all the time. If you're going to work, you're just going to work.
Okay.
We're not aware now. They were very aware they were being enslaved.
So is a phone a kind of the modern slave master? Is it actually whipping us into working 24 hours a day? We've got a new face at the table. What's your name?
Claire.
And you're going to join us?
Asha.
Yeah, welcome. What's in here? That's my pint of lager, I believe.
You're sitting there.
Yeah, but you can share it if you want to.
Okay.
You share it. We go 50-50. Yeah. Anyway, what we're talking about is a couple of things on the table. One is that Are phones, are they useful, or are they just making us work harder? And then there's this thing about the modern. Are we actually slaves these days? Are we
I think we should have time off from our phones. I think there's a bit of a dogma with phones, and I think it's affecting. Obviously, they're very useful things, and they do so much more now than
a dogma.
Well, the dogma of the phone, the need to keep checking it all the time because you might be missing out something on social media or an important email. I think we need days out from. We need non-phone days.
You need a whole day without a phone.
Without a device. I think it would be good for us.
Okay.
Just now and then. Just now and then.
Okay.
I observed something interesting the other day. I thought it's weird how so many of my friends, young people, slightly young people, don't have watches and they don't have clocks in their houses because they all have phones. So we're no longer relying on a conventional sort of form of time.
Is there a clock in here? Have we got a clock in here?
No.
What?
There's one on the radio.
There's one on the radio. So I guess.
Digital radio.
I guess all the So is it a bit like a casino where there's no clock? We've got a new face to say, what's your name?
Hi, I'm Craig.
What is it?
Craig.
Craig. We've got Naz, we've got Aisha, we've got Claire, we've got Judith, we've got, what's your name again?
John.
That's my dad. And we've got Rick and we've got Bob and Mikey. So at the moment we're sort of talking about, we don't have clocks anymore, it's our phone. We don't have jobs anymore, that's our phone. Or places of work, I suppose you could say. Do we need a day off from our phone then? We've got a new face to say.
I'd just like to say that all the casinos in Las Vegas, they don't have clocks, but they don't have daylight either, so people never know what time of day it is, so they're just gambling all the time.
Does it work for you?
And even some of them have pretend skies that come on, so you still think it's during the day,
Right, okay. Are you going for that look here with no clocks?
Yeah, but we can't really control the daylight, so...
Okay. We can work that out. We can bring in an artist to help you out.
Bring down the blinds soon if you want.
Yeah. Okay, so...
When is closing time? When is closing time?
Okay, it's a question direct.
My phone is.
When is closing time, or is there no closing time if there's no clocks?
It's not closing time.
Well, closing time's up to us, really. Yeah, that's how it works.
It's funny.
Yeah.
I feel like the conversation is moving into a critique of the concept of time in general.
Would you like to critique the concept of time?
I don't know. It's a bit tricky. Not necessarily as a measurement, because I understand it. It's based on an observable, like organic thing that happens, i.e. the sun rises, etc. But I just love how even the idea that if we start working on the train before 9 o'clock, that's not okay, and then if we stop working at 6 o'clock, technically we should stop at 5. Where did this 9 to 5 idea come from?
In a way, this what you're saying is this kind of slippery working. It's more about rejecting the kind of regiment of time.
I feel like that's really radical. That's a very radical take on it. I'm not necessarily saying we should reject the ideological. How do I describe it? I'm not saying
we're not enslaved by time.
But no, go. Bob
Is it the sun rising and the moon and all that? Is that really a good way of measuring time? Because it seems that with daylight savings and how many different countries have different kinds of, sell-by dates on a sandwich in Sainsbury's, that seems like more of a genuine way of measuring time, like how fast something decays. That's right. I've got loads of sandwiches in my bag.
So if you get one that kind of goes out of date every...
I know it's 6 o'clock. That's right. Yeah.
I'm always buying the reduced sandwiches, so I'm always waiting till they're going, and then I get them all. So I'm waiting till the last minute with time.
So in one sense, we've got a much more kind of accurate, precise measure of time. We know exactly the minute that a sandwich will go off. On the other hand, it's become more slippery and more blurred because we don't really care when we eat our sandwich. We don't care when we're working, when we're not working. So we kind of got more precise and more loose at the same time with the
freezer, you can then freeze the decay of the food. So you can freeze time, if you're going on the decay of stuff with, so.
Are we talking about cryogenics?
Okay, well, I mean, that's another way, I suppose, of cheating time, I suppose. Do you eat sandwiches that have gone off? That have passed their sell-by date?
Sorry, that's a little bit. I'm not part of it, but would I eat no, we're just about late. So, can you repeat the question?
Do you like see those sandwiches in Sainsbury's that are like reduced? Do you eat those? Rick does. Do you eat those reduced?
Do I eat sandwiches that are on their last day or going towards the sell by? Yes.
Okay, come and join in the conversation with us.
Just about to go and actually peel potatoes rather than buying something out of a packet.
Okay, so you prefer to make your own food?
Huh?
You prefer to make your own food, Dan?
Don't most people?
Pre-made foods.
Yes, we do cook our own food.
Okay, I mean that's another thing. Are we now sort of like? So we're talking about in a way being sucked into the machine of with our phones and the rest of it.
Sucked into the smartphone. It sucked us in like a monster.
Yeah. Do you ever order on Deliveroo? Do you ever get food on Deliveroo? No. Okay, is anyone here around the table?
No, I'm an avid user of Deliveroo.
Everyone just...
We're going home to cook.
What's this?
Hence, we're going home to cook.
Okay, I mean, is that going to be phased out, and then we'll be ordering our food on the phone?
I order a lot of food on my phone. Like you were talking earlier on about being addicted to your phone, and like I agree, we should have days where we don't have our phones, but it's so easy that it's just the default to do, And also, like, as your time gets more precious, spending like 2 hours cooking every evening or an hour, like that's a lot of time to devote to something that's...
When you could be getting it on delivery.
Yeah, exactly. Particularly if you're cooking for one person.
Is it a waste of time peeling all those potatoes when you could just be ordering it out on Deliveroo? That's what we're saying.
How do either option affect our planet?
What's that?
How do either option affect our planet? Either eating processed foods or naturally grown foods with a little less packaging.
Okay, is it bad for the planet?
I totally agree. I think ordering food like on Deliveroo is worse for the planet than like making your own food.
Oh no, we were just saying.
I was just seeing if I was on camera, and Naz was saying, "Don't worry, they can't see your face." So I was like, all the radical views can come out there.
Yeah, you're apparently, we're just saying that.
We're strategic.
I want to defend the planet. You guys are spreading these radio waves all over the place, to every single corner, buckets of radio waves. I'm being bombarded by 3 different cell phone companies with their radio waves. I don't think it's a good idea. I don't think we're safe.
What, so we are polluting the planet with radio waves?
Yes.
Like radio waves, light waves, they already exist. Like the sun is kicking out loads of different wavelengths. Just because we're using a few of them doesn't mean that it's like affecting us in any way.
You're saying those radio waves are coming through anyway?
I'm saying like radio waves are there, yeah? Infrared, like, to say that it's not natural to have radio waves in the air is,
I feel like you're blaming all of us for having phones, which seems a bit mad. I think really the idea that, and I know you're a little bit older than I am. I don't think we should speak about generations or anything. But obviously, nowadays a lot of people have phones. But I know what you're saying, but it's because it gives their life a certain versatility. It makes certain things easier, and you're totally right when you say that you can do all that stuff on a computer as well. You don't need it to be on your phone, but maybe we shouldn't see them as phones anymore. Maybe we should just see them as small computers.
Yeah.
That's it.
I mean, what do you get out of your phone?
Well, my phone's pretty medieval. I can't use that many apps on it, but it allows me to call people, and I can pretty much basically use the internet.
So you're more like one of the callers rather than the people like Judy with that use it to get food and...
I've only got an iPhone 4S. It's not that advanced, but it's very important to be able to, like, for me, to be able to have the different apps for the different jobs that I have in my life, so that I can, you know, be involved in the things that I want to be involved in, and, you know, keep abreast of what's going on in those different fields. So the iPhone allows you to do that without having to sit at home in front of a a massive computer that you can't, you know, I can just stay on top of everything.
Right, so you keep abreast of what's going on in the world?
Not necessarily in the work, because I think that's too much information to be cognizant of all of the time.
That suggests that you read newspapers. Do you read newspapers? No? How do you get your news? Okay, I bet you know what's going on.
What is? Can someone tell us what's going on in the world? What is going on?
Can you tell me what's going on in my world? So tonight's in Aberfeldy. What's going on in my... I don't know. Okay. In the psychological world, what important things are happening? There's a massive uprising around social injustice, particularly in South London. It's very timely given that it's like Black History Month, but there's a lot of allegations around discrimination and disparities and social justice, like lovely, amazing things. So that's happening.
Can you tell us, can you be a bit more specific? Get down to some details. What
are the details? There are massive disparities between people from disadvantaged socio-economic backgrounds in terms of the amount of money they access from national government for their education, health and care needs, and professionals are sick and tired of being quiet about it and are actually doing something.
What kind of professionals?
Education, health and care professionals. Okay. So that's the news. I don't read the other news because there's too much in my own world to deal with. So just stay focused on that.
So what you're saying is, I'm just trying to break this down for the audience.
Or is it you do work? Okay.
Well, I mean, I'm still don't really understand. Can you give me an example of like a particular person or a particular thing that's happening? People are not getting enough money. Is that what's going on?
Not necessarily enough. It's just if you don't have a system around you as an individual child with a disability, or at least rights under the Disability Discrimination Act, then you do not get access to all of the things that you're entitled to. So if you're a family that are slightly more socially savvy and aware of the system, and they call the right people and nudge the right people, then, you know, funds are released and things actually happen and get reviewed. Whereas if you're a migrant family, for example, with no recourse to public funds, you'll be sort of sat there. Like you said, you wanted a specific example. There's a child I'm working with who has a severe learning disability, and he hasn't received funding since 2016, even though it's being paid to the local authority. So I'm not entirely sure where that £30,000 a year is going. No.
So the kid, can we give the kid a name? Doesn't have to be his real name.
Let's call him Mike.
This kid Mike with learning disability.
Yeah.
He's not got any funding for 2 years. Is that because the parents don't know?
No, yes, I think that's a factor, but also I think because of the measures that national government are taking at the moment toward local government, there are less people who are able to do the not simple, that's unfair, but the day-to-day admin jobs that like in terms of those people that would be informed enough to understand what those diagnoses mean and ensure that that child is, you know, put in the right place and blah blah blah. So what's happening is you've got people who are unqualified or at least not very skilled doing those jobs, and then lots of children are falling through the net. So then the professionals don't know what's going on, and then so that's been my day basically.
A mess going on there. Yeah, that's why you're down in the wine.
That's why I'm down in the wine.
Okay.
What's the idea for solving these sort of? Because I totally agree with you. There's lots of kids that are in this situation that don't have that support structure from family, from friends, whatever, to push them into like the right paths to get that help. So what do you think a solution is to try?
Is it smartphones?
I don't think it's smartphones. But saying that, learning disabilities and smartphones is an amazing thing. You know, the way that like speech software and reading software has developed is unbelievable. Like, not only how it's developed, but how like society's seeing it as a normal thing to speak to your phone, and it like, you know.
Okay, so where do we want to take this conversation? Do we want to talk about how phones help people with learning disabilities? Do we want to talk about how bad the government is? Do we want to talk about what everyone's doing in their day and the daily problems, what's going on with everyone? Because we've heard about Judith, but
I just I read on the government actually just posted a message for everyone to say that marijuana has just been legalised medically today. Yeah, in the UK.
Okay.
I mean that's pretty mental. I didn't see that one coming.
That happened today.
Today, and it's going to be from November the 18th. It's going to be cool, but only medically, but still.
Okay, so I didn't know that. Did the people know that at the back?
I knew that. But that's I knew that.
Okay. You're following that one. Did you know that behind the bar marijuana's been legalised? What do you think about that? I didn't know that.
Yeah, I think to say like marijuana is a little bit misleading because it's a hemp crossbreed between marijuana and hemp, so it's not like CBD oils. It's not like strictly cannabis. It's definitely a good step.
It's a good step. Okay, so that's what's going in your day, Bob. You told us that. Was that the major thing in your day today?
I don't know if that was a major thing in my day today. Actually, I think the major thing in my day was getting here. But I'm here now.
Where did you come from?
I came from Brighton.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, the sunny Brighton.
Yeah, was it a bit of a challenge?
It was a little bit. I think I'm bad. Well, actually, my phone helped me get here. Helped me navigate the bus system, which I struggle with. Having dyspraxia as well, I'm very bad with navigation. So without the phone, maybe I wouldn't be here, John.
Okay. All right. Maybe we should just go around and find out the big things that happen in. What's the biggest thing that happened in everyone's day? So we heard from Judith and Bob. Maybe we'll go around. Craig, what's the biggest thing that happened in your day?
I had an argument with my supervisor. That's the biggest thing that's happened.
What was the argument? Can you tell us a little bit about it?
He told me off for checking the weather too much, basically.
Right. Okay.
And I was like,
what is a good amount of times to check the weather?
That's the question. Apparently, I do it too often.
Yeah. How often do you do it?
I do it like twice a day. Yeah. But apparently it's a problem and people have issues with it. So
Okay. How often do you check Facebook?
I'll never check Facebook at work. Never. No.
Oh, amazing.
No.
Well, I do at work if I didn't check Facebook all the time. Anyway, okay. So that was the big argument with your supervisor. Did it go well? Did you establish what a good number of times to?
Well, it went alright. I pointed out that he's constantly checking the football score and that's fine. But me checking the weather's inappropriate.
Okay. Biggest thing in your day?
Our general manager quit.
Right.
Had an argument on the phone and just upped his stuff and went. Left us in the.
Arguments are happening today?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's in the air today because
Mercury in retrograde?
Probably.
I don't know what it means.
Yeah, some alignment shifted or something, but totally left us in the crap.
So the general manager just walked out?
No notice.
No, he just had an argument on the phone, said goodbye, took his stuff and went.
Did he put
that
it
was
in a cardboard box like they do now?
No, they did. I wanted to see that, but it didn't happen. No, he had his little backpack on the back and we were just like, goodbye.
Okay, so that's quite a big shift there. What was the biggest thing that happened in your day?
To be honest, probably coming here, I've been really struggling today because I am suffering from really bad insomnia at the moment. So days are a bit of a blur at the moment. So, but I did manage to do some work and I really wanted to come here and feel normal again because when you have a sort of continued period of not sleeping, I start to feel slightly alien and apart from the world and quite odd.
So you came to a glowing round table with a microphone?
Yeah, and I feel at home. Yeah.
Okay, so we're doing what's the biggest thing that happened in your day today?
I just want to talk about how I overcame the difficulty of coming here. I didn't have a smartphone. I didn't use a phone at all. I spoke to the bus driver and I said, where must I get off? And he told me. It was a personal interaction. I didn't use any cell phones.
The bus driver's always telling me where to get off. But anyway, okay, so it isn't once again another. No, I'm summing up. a lot of what this is my job in the middle is just to sum up. So people say something, and then I just say it again.
I see. Sorry,
in a more yeah. But I mean, I don't know why it just seems to work. So I'm just going to sum up what John said. So don't call him my dad when I'm in the middle of the day. So John also had a problem getting here today. Oh, that was the biggest thing, is that just like Bob. Okay, moving on to Rick now.
I've had a horribly mundane day, so not really. No, I mean, I'm still
thing in your day is
I'm still alive, so that's a good thing, I suppose. Yeah.
Okay, well there you go. Still time.
Rick, what did you have for lunch? What did you eat today?
For lunch, I had some leftovers from last night, which was lentils with sweet potato.
Was it from Deliveroo?
Deliveroo from. Oh no, I also made it myself. So.
Okay, so where do we want to go with this conversation? Do we want to talk about the things that, I mean, maybe we could go to the people right behind the bar? Anything happen? Big things happen in your day?
He's in.
Yeah, basically, yeah, basically. So come and join in. Come and join in. We got Naz, we got Craig, we got Aisha. Are you going? But what's the biggest thing that happened in your day before you go? What's the biggest thing? The big things we want to know about.
Bad or good?
Doesn't matter.
I'm still alive.
Okay, right. So where do we want to go with this conversation? Where do we want to take? Do you want to talk about the travel difficulties? Do we want to talk about the government league? Do you want to talk about the government? Do you want to go back to this thing about the kids with the learning difficulties? Do you want to talk about?
I get enough of that.
Why do you think the government's legalised cannabis for medical use? Do you think it's to make money, or do you think that they now see it's actually medicine and their past legalisation of it? Like, how would it make money? Well, America's made fuck tons of money through legalising cannabis. Like,
do you see it as a good thing?
Oh, completely, yeah. But like,
so would you be?
I'm just saying it.
Made money from cannabis?
No, not at all. But I'm saying like, there's some motivation behind it.
Okay.
What is that motivation?
Is it a low motivation or a high motivation?
I think that they see the tides are turning, and that they realise that it's a step to like legalising it for like, you know, recreational use, and they know that it's very expensive to police it, and it also is quite a lot of waste of time. Okay. And I think they're just slowly getting people used to the idea.
Okay, so it's part of a slow incremental step to legal marijuana.
I'm just worried about this medical use, you see, because the government pays for the health care. So when you've got a complicated disease, instead of spending a lot of money on wonderful illness, on wonderful treatments, or doing a radical operation, they'll send you home with some grass. Yeah, just smoke this, your problem. You won't worry about it. Yeah. It'll be fine. Just smoke a bit of grass. You'll be all right.
Isn't that quite good for the NHS? Is it going to take a lot of pressure off the NHS? Medical marijuana?
Possibly, but also like if you read sort of Zaz and other psychiatrists that are like critical psychiatrists, this idea of controlling and policing people's ability to medicate themselves is it's like nonsense that we've gotten to this point in which it's actually like a conversation that they're allowing us to take drugs, like, or they're not allowing us to take. When did we become these people that require this paternalistic sort of, you know, people on a pedestal telling us what we're allowed to do or not allowed to do? How did we get to that place?
How do we get to the point where people actually determine what we consume and what we don't consume? And who is it? Is it experts or is it policemen? Naz, what are you going to say?
To be honest, they have to diagnose you first in order to get that cannabis that cannabis fix, you know what I'm saying, to sort yourself out. So it's not really legalising it for everyone. It's just if you've been diagnosed or put into a certain category that you need this, you know, it's not for everyone. It should be for everyone because, you know, they were using it way before us, and then pharmaceuticals come in and said, oh, we've got something better.
What about Judith's point that is it really up to the government or the experts to tell us what we can and can't
It's the
consume?
people's choice. It's whatever the person wants to do with themselves,
Yeah.
as long as it's not hurting no one else.
Okay, so it should be up to the people.
Yeah.
Hello. Grab a stool. At the moment, we're kind of talking about marijuana, medical marijuana. Is it up to the government to tell us what we can and can't consume?
Absolutely not.
Yeah?
Definitely not. I mean, it's up for them to advise us as to what we can't consume in terms of, you know, what works for them. But I'm sure they're making money out of everything we shouldn't be consuming anyway, so I don't really know why it's any of their fucking business.
Yeah.
Like, in the sense that, you know, all the taxes that are on cigarettes and alcohol, I mean, clearly that's benefiting the government in some way, right?
So you think really that we should just tax marijuana and just be done with it?
Absolutely. In fact, not just marijuana, but most drugs that aren't like the real hard stuff. You know, definitely. Yeah.
Can you throw me with some other drugs? I mean, not.
Well, I mean, for instance, psilocybin mushrooms. It's ridiculous that magic mushrooms, which have always grown in our country, that it's part of our heritage and our culture here, they're a Class A drug, even though actually they've been proven to be one of the most medically safe drugs for us to take.
Okay. If only we had the opinion of like some psychiatrist or other medical expert to tell us. Yeah.
I think like substances have to be controlled in some way because okay, there's illegal drugs and that's some sort of substances, but there's also chemicals that can be put into food that, like, you know, all sorts of things that can cause
chemicals.
Off the top of my mind, I can't think of anything, but there are chemicals that are MSG, you know, MSG like lead, whatever.
What's MSG?
Genetically modified. Okay. But my point is that those types of chemicals need to be restricted so that they don't get into our food chain.
Yeah.
So to say that governments have no control is like, you know, that can fire as back on us as well as like saying they've got.
So they should have. They should have a bit of control.
They need some control, and also we need to have some fun.
Yeah, hang on a sec, because we've got a new face at the table. We've been talking about the government. Have they gone a bit far in controlling us and what we can and cannot consume? I don't know if you know that today medical marijuana has been legalised, and is it a creeping step towards legalisation of marijuana in general? But there's people around the table who are saying, well, actually the government shouldn't be controlling this. But this is Craig over here. Craig has been saying that they should control it a little bit because who knows what people are going to give us. So we've got a couple of new faces at the table. We've got Craig, we've got Naz, we've got Claire, we've got John, we've got Rick, we've got Bob. What's your name?
Elam.
And
Victoria.
Victoria, welcome. I'm Mikey. Should the government control it? Is it about safety in a way?
Is the government the right body to advise us on drugs? Because whenever I hear them talk about drugs, it's really embarrassing and they sound like they don't know what the hell they're talking about. And a lot of it's really, hypocrisy.
So who would you get to advise you on drugs?
People who take them and experience them and know them. Like, I don't mean crackheads, but, you know, people who actually have some knowledge or have researched
crackheads
them.
are the best people to advise on taking crack, at least.
Yeah, maybe.
Okay, so should the drug users be the advisors rather than the government?
I think there's a problem with doing that, and that's if we have an informed government, then they'll be like, well, we should legalise it. It's stupid that it's not legal. That's why you get informed people speaking badly about it, because if they were informed, then they would realise that, you know, some of the things.
So the reason why we don't have that now is because then all drugs would end up being legalised. Okay, we've got a point over here.
The government isn't controlling drugs, the government is controlling us.
Okay, how are they controlling us?
They're saying we can't use cannabis, we can't use any number of drugs.
Would you like to use cannabis?
No, but I decide, not the government.
Okay.
Theresa May can go to hell. I'll decide what I want to take.
Okay. All right. So the government is controlling us. Yeah. What's that?
Now I'm just wondering, like, how are they going to decide who should and shouldn't have medical marijuana? Because, you know, if someone has some kind of illness where they need it, like, you know, what illnesses are allowed to have this medical marijuana and what aren't really?
Okay. Do we know?
From what I read, it seems that it still has to be a specialist doctor who makes the decision, and it has to be about a specific neurological condition or something like that. So it's not going to be like if you got backache, you can get it. Not yet.
Yeah.
But I know in America that is the case. If you have severe back pain, you can get medical marijuana, but not yet.
Why are the visions of this doctor being completely off their face and stuff? It's just like, yeah, you can have this, it's fine, yeah, this will sort you out, yeah.
I mean, should doctors be experimenting with drugs so they understand the side effects? I'm trying to come to Aisha over here.
Yesterday, 2 days ago, some boy jumped in that bridge. Some boy jumped that bridge.
What bridge?
That bridge. Over there. Yeah, I want to kill himself, and in 1 year he using cannabis. And
So
it's got chemical. It's not normal cannabis. 10 years people smoking it.
Yeah.
Some people they go and make me crazy.
Did he die?
No, he live, but he wanna die.
Right. Okay, so a boy jumped off of a bridge, and he'd been smoking cannabis. Okay, all right.
There are different strains of marijuana. There are some, we call it skunk in the UK. We say so it's a kind of chemically sort of bred form of marijuana, which is particularly dangerous. But if you have a predisposition to schizophrenia, marijuana is one of the things that will trigger it. But obviously, you don't know until you take it. That's the reality.
Okay, so should it be? I mean, should it be just out there for schizophrenics to take?
Synthetic cannabis. Did you say synthetic cannabis?
I think you were talking about a
He's taking a weed, green one.
Okay.
And it was good boy going to school, a secondary school, and it just 1 year when he taking it, he just go crazy.
Okay.
And he don't want to be here no more, and that's sad.
Okay. You got a point to make, yeah?
It's just that everybody who uses cannabis loses contact with reality. Okay, that's a research finding. So that loss of contact with reality can be harmless. You can just stare into space quietly.
Yeah.
Or you might jump off a bridge.
So in which case, should it be? You're just saying everyone should have access to this. Should it be legal if it's so dangerous?
It's up to people. If you want to jump in front of the bus, you want to jump in front of the bus. It's your business.
Okay. Yeah.
When people go on a roller coaster and it says, like, first of all, you got to be this high to ride, but it also says if you have a heart condition, like, don't get on the ride. The unfortunate thing about drugs is that you don't necessarily know what the problem is until you start taking it. That's the issue.
Yeah.
But there's also, in terms of what medical marijuana is doing, it's trying to sort of, make someone's ailment feel a bit better. It's trying to sort of give them some kind of, respite from the horror, basically, which is a bit different from some sort of kids sort of smoking some mysterious stuff behind a bike shed and then not wanting to live anymore.
Okay, hang on. So, do you have a point?
No, I wondered if you might do a little sort of summary of what happened, because I wasn't sure.
Okay, so at the moment we're kind of talking about this idea. John said that actually it's the government controlling us. They shouldn't be able to control what we consume. And then, Aisha's made the point that somebody recently jumped off a bridge because it's happened quite a lot. People get stoned and then they go psychotic and they can kill themselves. In this case, luckily, the person didn't die.
Yeah.
So is it that safe, and should we be? Yeah. Hang on.
I don't think in this case it was to do with the marijuana itself. I think it was to do that the boy might have had underlining issues like depression or something else, and the marijuana was just there and they wanted to blame it. But
you think that,
to be honest, honest, I think a lot of kids nowadays are put under such pressure that, you know, it can be masked by the drugs, but they're not getting the professional help they need.
Right, so you're
and
saying...
the support they need off the schools.
So maybe was it the drugs, or was it the... I mean, you, in a way, touched on this, the pressure that kids are under. Was it the pressure that the kids are under anyway?
This person I'm talking to, I know all his life.
Yeah.
He's not somebody. He started last year smoking weed, and it was nothing. It was strong. Maybe something.
Yeah.
Costed that or not costed that, but cannabis costed. Some people can take, some people cannot take.
Okay, so you think it was more the cannabis than the... Okay.
You know, no one under the age of 18 is allowed to buy tobacco or alcohol anyway, right? So, I mean, in fact, the idea of enforcing these drugs should technically prevent what we're talking about with this bridge incident, right? So if the drugs were available, not that they were being sort of passed around in some mysterious gangster-like form, but that they could be purchased at a certain age.
Say Londis or...
Sure, yeah, you can get yourself a couple of joints from Londis, and maybe then that would help.
You'd have to be over 18.
But to be honest, people are always going to drink alcohol underage. People are always going to do these things, and it is, as you say, it's about their background. It's about what's going on with them, and also about the crowds they hang out with. You know.
Okay, hang on a sec, Judith. Hang on a sec. Let me just come to Victoria.
No, but it's generally like it addresses the definition of word drugs, obviously, because you could argue that people that smoke weed sometimes they don't, you know. And compared to people that like overdo sugar or like sugary or sweets, it's just, I mean, it's really similar in many ways.
So you think like what you're saying, sugar and sweets are a bit like drugs, or coffee?
Yeah, I mean, I'm surely there are loads of like cases of people that are dramatically overweight and have really bad like diabetes, and they have to like, I don't know, cut their leg because they have bad whatever it is, you know, and it's more about the attitude.
Yeah.
Addicted to something that could be hereditary. That could be. I'm diabetic. I could have my leg gone at any point, but I'm not addicted to sugar.
Right. I mean, what do you think? Do you think they say that sugar should be more controlled?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah. Okay.
Sugar and things.
Yeah. Okay. Is that a bit like a drug dealer pushing the sugar? You had something to say?
It wasn't about sugar necessarily.
Yeah.
I guess it was interesting to me because it felt like we were moving into a conversation around whether like mental health difficulties, like we were talking about schizophrenia earlier, we were talking like psychotic was a word that was used as well, and whether those are like organic brain differences that happen because somebody has decided to take drugs and that's changed the way they think, or whether that's to do with the environmental circumstances that someone finds themselves in and they're so therefore self-medicate, and that means that might make them feel a bit more confident to do things like take up their own authority and end their life if that's what they choose. So it was just interesting, like there was these two different arguments, but then it moved into sugar, so it's like, I'm not sure where we're going.
Maybe we could apply this to sugar as well. You know, where is Craig's talking about this hidden sugar. You know, is sugar in a way a kind of self-medication as well? You know, like what's that? Yeah.
I'm diabetic too.
Oh yeah.
I am not best and never have a sweet tooth or have anything. I just have one slice cake. But everything we eat in food has got sugar and the salt. I started out just 6 months.
Yeah.
Everything we got. But when your body's not working, it's cost you that.
I mean, do you feel like people are trying to push sugar onto you in a way? They're trying to make
Listen,
you have...
I never liked sugar before, but when they say I cannot take it, I need more. I'm just looking and saying, why I cannot take it? Why I don't have it? But when I'm studying it, I'm just doing exercises, walking, take that everything. But my doctor want to stop now. I was 3 years. Now they want to stop my tablet, but I said I don't want to stop yet.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
Yeah. Go on.
I suppose diabetes is one of those things that you can cure naturally. You just have to change your diet. I know it's not that easy.
Yeah.
But I think with sugar, the reason why people get addicted to it is, like you were saying, maybe you mentioned it before, but people have got mental health issues, or there's just some kind of it's giving them some kind of satisfaction, or it's a distraction.
Right. So there is a connection with the mental health.
Yeah. So just like with drugs and all the other things, it's just an escapism, isn't it?
Okay.
The late great Philip Seymour Hoffman, the wonderful actor, he said that he never took anything that after a time, he didn't take to the extent where it made him sick. He would just take something until, he loved it so much that it would eventually make him ill. Right. And I think there are some people that are like that. There are some people who physically, it's within their brain, it's within their genes.
Whatever you give them,
they can't not abuse it.
Okay, whatever you give them, they will abuse it. Be it sugar, be it crack cocaine, be it chat even. The drug of chat, the drug of talking into a microphone. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess the reason why I basically wanted to bring another example of addiction, because I just saw Instagram story today of one activist that I'm following, and she posted screenshots from the article, which was about homelessness in New York City. Yeah. And they're talking about the reasons behind homelessness, and none of those reasons were drugs. So I thought, well, that's one of those things. Like, you can maybe say that this is addictive, whatever it is, that can be addictive, but there's so many. I think the more specific you are, the better, because a lot of times things are blamed for, but there are other things that are much worse, and it's.
So what
were the main reasons?
Well, just people losing jobs, for example. I don't know, getting divorced, and then being too many people in one place, and just rent becoming too expensive or something like that. All those other things.
I mean, what's that?
No, so I'm saying environmental factors, they come before people self-medicating in order to get them, just like someone being on antidepressants or Ritalin, or, in order to function, to do the thing that we're being asked to do every day.
Are all these things about the pressure that we face in the world? Yeah.
It's like looking at your mobile phone all the time at work. It's like if you hate your job, I'm pointing at you it's because we had this conversation. It's like, when will I get out of this building? And what's the weather like outside? Oh, it's sunny. I should probably go for lunch now. Let me get out of this building. It's like if you hate your job, Facebook takes you away from that.
All of this stuff
is any other drug.
It's masking what actually the real problem is.
Yeah, because drugs essentially, all they do is activate the reuptake of neurotransmitters in the brain.
Right.
So things like just visual stimuli, just because you're not ingesting it, doesn't mean that it doesn't activate neurotransmission in the brain. And also, you're looking at your phone, which there's lots of light, which creates an increase of serotonin as well. So that in itself is wonderful. So yeah, long story short.
Okay.
It occurs to me then that the real problem is that we're unhappy. It has nothing to do with chemicals that we might ingest.
Well, basically what Bob is saying is the underlying, the deep issue behind all of this is that we are unhappy.
Yes.
We're unhappy with our jobs. We're unhappy with being government, being oppressed. We're unhappy in the school. We're unhappy on the way to and from work.
Oh my God.
And we're unhappy at home cooking our potatoes. Yeah.
No, it's I guess it's more about even someone sending you message on Instagram could be a form of drug, because I used to get that kind of instant boost of enjoyment whenever I would get
I mean, who doesn't get a buzz when they get?
No, it's not like buzz. I'm talking about a very specific sort of thing. For example, because for example, I used to be in a long-term relationship, long distance.
Yeah.
And after a while, I realized that all these messages of gifts and instant funny links or funny cat videos or whatever that you send normally every day to each other, it kind of becomes this really instant hit, and you kind of it's really good for a few minutes, but then it doesn't solve the problem,
So
but it keeps kind of
addicted to the communication in a way.
Yeah, it's almost it becomes a form of communication, and you really don't really think about it too much, as long as it gives you this instant enjoyment. But you don't really solve the problem that you're not physically with the person. And I feel like it's kind of, and I thought that's why I thought at some point, like, okay, I'm getting this like instant hit, but I'm not really. It's not satisfying me in long run, or it doesn't make sense. It doesn't solve the problem. So I guess
Well, say that again.
What happens when you stop receiving those messages? Like,
just face the issue, the real issue that actually you can't go on like this or whatever. It can't be anything. It's more about.
I can tell. Sorry, I was just watching John's expression then while you were explaining about getting messages from your ex. I could tell that you were thinking, this is the phones. The phones are the thing that's doing it. But I mean, come on. In some way, even though that we can get addicted to communication in that form through text messages, and it can make us sad, it can also allow us to communicate with people that we haven't seen for a long time. It's not all bad, right?
Yeah.
I'm not blaming phones. Oh, sorry.
Earlier on, we started this whole conversation. You weren't here, Ellen. You weren't here, Victoria. Everyone else was here. We were talking about the phones and are we addicted to our phones. That's how we started this whole thing going, and we sort of went all around the houses.
A lot of the things we're addicted to, there's people behind it who are making sure that we become addicted to it. It's just like with Instagram, there's a whole department in Instagram that makes sure that we become addicted to this app.
There's an addiction department in Instagram.
Yeah, you could say that in simple terms, and even just things like alcohol, drugs, I mean, why do some people smoke? Some people smoke because, society says that it's something that, you should do. So sometimes, it's not because we're unhappy, it's just because, this is the world we live in.
Okay, but would they be so susceptible if they weren't unhappy?
I don't think unhappiness is always the reason why they become
not always
susceptible.
unhappiness. Yeah. Okay, we've got a new face to the table. What's your name?
Loretta.
Loretta, we've got Aisha, we've got Naz, we've got Victoria, we've got Ellen, we've got Bob, we've got Rick, John, and we've got Judith, and I'm Mikey. At the moment we're sort of talking about addiction and substances, be it sugar, be it being on our phone, or drinking or drugs. Is it because we're unhappy? This idea came out, I'm not sure from who, it came out that maybe the reason why we're so dependent on all these things is because the world makes us unhappy. Yeah.
No, I'm just going to say, I want to talk about why is it that we feel sorry for people who take drugs? What about the people who sell drugs?
We feel sorry for them as well.
Yeah, but why are they always painted out as being like the villains and the bad people? I think taking drugs and selling drugs is the same thing. It's part of the same cycle. I don't get why one.
Two sides of the
and
same
also
coin.
they're both illegal as well. Why is it that the drug seller gets sent to jail and murdered and stuff like that, and then but the drug taker, I mean, they should have some responsibility as well.
Jump on that point, and also if we look at that, why is there a difference between a medical doctor prescribing methamphetamine, also known as Ritalin, for a child, and a child who takes that drug? And
so you're saying the child should equally be blamed for that drug?
No, I'm saying, why is it that the drug dealer? Exactly. When actually there is no evidence base, there's no empirical research to suggest what the impact of psychotropic medication is on the population of people that they're prescribing it to. So the same way in which drug dealers have no idea what will happen to their clients who take crack, heroin, ECT. ETC. Sorry, etc. No, ECT. Apologies.
ETC.
No. EC.
What are you talking
whatever,
about?
etc.
Etc.
Et al. And so on and blah blah. So there's actually no difference. The only difference is one person went to university for X amount of years, as I did, and has a broader vocabulary.
If you sold drugs, everyone would think you were great.
No, well, I'm not a medical doctor.
Right.
But but there's no actual difference between prescribing a script for a psychotropic medication when MDMA, AD, and methamphetamine, all of these drugs do the same. They're literally the same chemical. They're all,
Okay, what's this, Loretta?
I was just saying it's the same with pain medication. That's how a lot of people on documentaries that I've seen, they've gone on to heroin and stuff because they ask for more of that pain medication.
Okay,
and then
so basically a doctor we think is great. We think doctors are great. They're helping people. Drug dealers are helping people too. Drug dealers, we think they're somehow they're helping people too, but we think they are the scum of the earth. And why have we got this double standards?
Usually the drug seller, they're just the ones at the bottom. They're just surviving, they don't have the luxury of purchasing drugs and taking drugs. They just don't have that luxury. So I think I feel sorry for the drug dealers, more than I do the drug takers, to be honest with you.
What happens when the drug dealer becomes super rich, has 4 cars, and is doing really well for themselves? I've seen it happen. I grew up in East London. I've seen it happen. And then after they've got all these cars and all these assets, they get raided, and then boom, it's all gone.
Yeah. Okay. So we're talking about sympathy for the drug dealers. Should we? Is it all great that they're making money? They get 4 cars, then they get raided, and they're back to zero again. Is it hero to zero? Are they heroes? Yeah.
Maybe it's a question of how necessary it is, because in my experience, personal, I've met some people that turned kind of drug dealers, maybe for a short while, or maybe for a long term. I don't know, but I didn't feel like it was necessary, and it was more out of there was no real reason for them to do it, to be honest. So it just depends,
Do you think are they providing a service, the people selling drugs? Is it a service we should appreciate?
I don't know. I wasn't part, I guess, of that service, but I actually wanted to bring just another point about doctors, because I recently met someone that I was at a talk, and I met someone who was basically a person that. Sorry.
Hang on a sec. Give us a final thought. Finish your point, Victoria, but we want a final point from you before. No. What were you saying about doctors?
No, it's okay. So I've met someone who is basically in charge of herbal.
Medicine.
Medicine is like a herbal garden. It's basically places where you can find a herbal doctor. So.
Yeah.
Maybe it's there are series of gardens around London, and basically you can come in and just say I've got this and this, and then the guys can say
So it's a kind of herbalist
type of thing, and apparently, anyway.
Okay. So that's another form, that the traditional herbal medicine. We were talking about herbs earlier on, weren't we? Let's get a final thought from Claire. Grab the mic.
I think there's a lot of hypocrisy around drug taking. We're sitting in a pub, drinking, consuming drugs right now.
Drink, by the way.
You're a drug taker. We're all drug takers to a certain extent. So
Okay.
I'm hoping to come back later. So that's my semi-final thought.
Are you going out? Are you going to try and score something, or?
No, I'm going to do a good deed. I'm going to watch my friends' kids actually, and sell them some drugs. Now I'm not going to do it.
Okay. All right. So I guess we're talking. Is there a lot of hypocrisy here?
No, basically I just wanted to make a point about certain things being, just about the value of certain things, let's say in some countries people take drugs as a medicine and so on. So basically this guy was talking a lot about who runs these herbal. Sorry, I forgot the word. What it is it's basically series of gardens.
I think herbal is the word for that.
No, but there's herbal not clinic. It's establishment.
Okay, so
anyway, so the point was he was talking a lot about how certain herbs are not valued in a way that they should be. For example, weeds and stuff like that. How a lot of weeds have really amazing qualities, but just they're not people don't appreciate enough.
So you're talking about weeds rather than weeds. Yeah.
Auf Deutsch oder nicht?
No.
Is it Victoria? She's
Yeah.
not Deutsch. Are you German?
No. Russian.
Sorry, I was getting German. I was thinking that you couldn't find the word because it was in German. I was thinking me and Mike could probably figure out the word in English if it's in German. Sorry, I don't speak Russian. Sorry.
And interesting is that, like, you know, herbs that many different cultures use in their houses, and you know, once it becomes popular, then you know it gets sold in like the supermarket and health food shops for a ridiculous amount of money, like turmeric and moringa and all these different
What's
things.
this one? I heard of
turmeric.
Yeah, but what's the second one?
Moringa is like this herb from, you know, I think an African country, maybe Zimbabwe or something like that. And you know, now it becomes like an on-trend thing. So it becomes a superfood, and then you can like brand it and sell it to people for.
But what about the weeds that are just growing and they're not being appreciated, like the nettles? Moringa is a weed.
Yes, a weed as well. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Ginkgo biloba is amazing. Got me for a doctoral thesis.
What is that?
So basically, then there's been a lot of empirical research. There's lots of data to suggest that Ginkgo biloba has an impact on cognition.
What is it?
It's just, you can buy it, and it's a herb. It's just like St. John's wort or anything else like that.
Right.
You get it from a lovely Holland and Barrett.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
that's
So
a
there's
top
all these
tip.
herbs out there, and we're just going for the more pharmaceutical kind of thing. Yeah. Okay.
The stuff you're talking about, Ginkgo biloba, is not absorbed. It goes in the mouth and runs out the bottom. The story that it does anything to you is just a con, you know.
You don't believe in it then?
I happen to have read that it's not absorbed.
Right. Okay.
So it doesn't do anything. Yeah.
Okay.
Things, for example, turmeric. If you just have the turmeric, you know, it's not really gonna, you know, do anything. But you need to have a little bit of black pepper to sort of activate it. So, yeah, and it's just like chia seeds as well. A lot of people just eat those dry, but you have to soak it to activate it and all sorts of things.
Okay, so there's like you have to know how to take this stuff.
Exactly.
Okay. There seems to be a world of a wealth of.
Did you say that you have to soak cheese to activate it?
Chia seeds.
Cheese. Chia seeds. Chia seeds.
I'm with
Okay. Okay, so we're finding out a lot about herbs, all different herbs. We've got the moringa, the turmeric, the chia seeds, the ginkgo, the marijuana, of course. Yeah. What's that?
I've definitely healed myself with different ailments that I may have been suffering from that the GP had no answers from through herbs.
Can you give us an example?
Yeah, okay, how can I put it? So I had like a stomach issue, gastritis, and then I just drank a lot of licorice.
Right.
Yeah, and that really
And
helped
that
to heal
worked.
it. Yeah, aloe
what did the
vera,
GP
aloe vera.
prescribe?
I think I can't really say it now. Yeah, something. But it ended up giving me like joint pain and stuff like that. So there was a lot of side effects.
If you eat it raw, it helps build your cartilage back up
Okay.
around the knees and the hips.
I mean, so it seems like the doctors yeah?
Can I just say there were so many myths about all this stuff. I just can't believe all you guys. I think there must be. All these herbs aren't cure-alls for every single thing.
No,
I mean,
it's
fair enough
different-
that they might do something.
Different stuff for different
But like,
things.
to be honest, I would rather take like a high-powered, horrible chemical than some sort of like fancy herb you found in the garden any
So
day.
you're more believing in the chemicals. Okay, maybe we should go around the table, chemical or herb. We're going to do a quick. I'm just going to quickly go around the table, chemical or herb. Chemical or herb?
Herb and chemical, both.
Both? Okay, chemical or herb?
I think they're the same thing.
Okay, same?
Herbal.
Herbal.
I think prevention is, you know, preventative measures are the best. Using
Are you a
herbs.
politician? Or is it herb or
Using herbs.
chemical?
I would say herbs at early stage and then chemicals at later stages.
Okay, so when the herbs don't work, go for the chemicals. Yeah. Okay, yeah.
I'd say an informed decision around chemicals. Obviously, you need to read stuff, but there are some amazing drugs in the world.
So herb or chemical?
Chemical.
Chemical, because you can Google it on your phone and find out what the chemical does.
Okay, so chemicals in the world of phones, chemicals are better.
I'm going to trust the medical expert probably and go chemical.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, It depends how much I trust my doctor, I guess. If the doctor's telling me something and I'm like, no, that sounds like bollocks, then I'm going to look into it.
Is this really what this conversation is about? It's about trust, really, isn't it? It's about who.
On you, it just depends on you. You know, you have to do what's right for you, basically.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, at a certain age, you kind of know your body. I think I know my body quite well, so yeah, I'm going to stick to the herbs for now.
Can I make a point? I've had herbal my whole life. Herbal stuff. Oh wait, sorry. I'm a herbal person. I grew up with my dad saying, "Oh, you can fix that. You can fix that with the herbs," you know. And I'm nearly 40. 2 years.
Still alive.
And I'm doing pretty well. So.
Okay. So I mean, do we place too much trust in the medical profession? Not enough. What do people think? Yeah.
Well, so my mom is a doctor, so I mean, obviously she brought, like I've seen, and she talked a lot about so many examples when you have to use chemical medicine, because a lot of times it's either too late or it's literally a lot of times it's basically too late to fix anything, you know.
Right.
And that's, I think herbs are good for like prevention, generally, like, you know, healthy lifestyle and common sense is always good for prevention.
Herbs
but
at the beginning,
but I do see, like, I don't think there are a lot of times when it's still like people try to go oh, maybe we should do it like with herbs. It doesn't work a lot of times. So I think you have to like face the reality in that sense.
Yeah.
You know.
Okay, so sometimes the herbs don't work.
We have to remember that when they call something alternative medicine, it means it's not medicine.
Okay. Right. Okay.
It means it's not the dominantly agreed upon version of scientifically rigorous research. What type of doctor is your mother? There's many doctors in the world.
Okay.
Oh well, she's is it called ENT? ENT. Yeah, but she has a lot of colleagues that work with cancer and that sort of thing, and
What about when it comes to cancer? I mean, and herbs. Can herbs do anything for cancer?
I don't know. How do I know that? My point is that, like, obviously, a lot of times, just from the experiences, like that's obviously my mom's friends had within their practices. It's you know, it's too late, and then people don't always know the reasons for the cancer and that sort of thing. So
actually, we don't really know.
Yeah.
Most of the time, we don't.
Exactly. Sometimes you can be the healthiest person and have the sickness.
Okay.
Saying that, we have to give a massive shout out to the 3 professionals who have recently won a Nobel Prize for their research around cancer. There are 3. I can't tell you their names off the top of my head, but 3 people have recently developed immunotherapy. Instead of giving people chemotherapy, they do something that means that your immune system can target cancerous cells that are multiplying, and honestly that's huge. Also, I had Hodgkin's lymphoma, which is a blood cancer, in 2012, and 6 months of chemotherapy. And I don't want to take anybody's opinions away, but I was in Bart's every fortnight getting chemo. I'm sorry, herbs or no herbs, there's like no chance.
That worked, and that really cured.
Well, I've been in remission since 2012, no issues.
Let's come on.
What stage?
Stage 2B.
Okay.
So there's stages, numbers, and then there's letters based on your symptoms.
Okay, so at that point, you kind of, you have to go with the chemicals in a way, and the chemicals seems like they worked. Loretta, you were going to say something? No. Okay, so I guess where do we go with this conversation? We can talk about cancer. We can talk about
No, but for me, generally, it's quite kind of not exciting, but it's kind of always interesting to see how people, especially with health, like a lot of times take it for granted. You're healthy, you don't think about it, but then something happens and you just become so weak all of a sudden. So I think it's just one of those points, like.
So when you're in good health, like Naz, you just take it for granted, touch, Yeah, but it's only when things go badly wrong, then suddenly you go, oh, I need.
I'm actually doing something called coconut oil pulling. It's an ancient Ayurvedic, technique, because I really don't want to get any kind of oral infections, and I don't want to spend a lot of money. So again, I'm quite happy that my teeth are in good health, and I want to maintain that. So I feel like I'm
what's this coconut oil pulling?
Oh, basically, it's like an ancient Indian technique under the Ayurvedic sort of way of life, where they like pull like oil in between your teeth, and it has been proven to prevent cavities.
So what do? You pour oil?
You just like put like a spoonful of coconut oil in your mouth, and you just swish it around for about 15 to 20 minutes.
Okay, quite a long time.
It has been proven to reduce cavities.
Anyone else do anything like that? Okay.
You know, just like the hard like medical.
Hard stuff, Okay. I mean, what do people think about this? Should we be doing more of this? Should we be casting our net wider and looking at some of the traditional cures and treatments from around the world? Are we too focused on this Western thing? It seemed to work in Judith's case. She's still. Any views on this?
Again, I just think it comes down to the person, isn't it? So, so some people, they smoke, drink alcohol for their whole life, and they end up dying at like 101.
Yeah.
And then you have people that don't, they live a healthy life like myself, and they end up dying at whatever age, like it's very much earlier. So I just think you have to know your body. You got to know what environment is right for you, know how to manage your stress and anxiety, get good sleep, and of course drink good water.
When I had a shoulder separation, my partner's sister gave me like this special balm to help rub in to make it feel better, which I did, but the painkillers were so much better. Basically, I was just on the painkillers. That made it so much. I could sleep with the painkillers, kind of thing. So
We could die at any moment. We could die at any time, due to something our body is doing, due to something we've done to ourselves, due to a car or anything. But the reality is that all we really need to do is enjoy ourselves and try to be happy, no matter what form that takes.
Okay. So should we be more kind of aware of this like looming death that's kind of like on top of us, and try to enjoy every moment? That's Bob. That's coming from Bob. It's not. It's coming from Bob. Listen, Judith, I'm fine. This is coming from Bob. This is coming all the way from Bob over here. Bob's saying we need to enjoy every moment because I'm amplifying it for sure. I'm amplifying.
When your time is up, your time is up. Nobody can save you.
Yeah.
The way is enjoy your life.
Is it something that we need to be more aware of, so that we just make sure we enjoy?
I think that we're always aware of the fact that the ending could happen at any time. I think so. I also think you have to just accept every emotion that comes in life. It's impossible to enjoy. It's impossible to enjoy every day. But when you're not having a great day, just know that, accept that emotion, and sort of really look into why you're feeling that way. I think that's more beneficial.
So it's not like about having this pressure to be happy or having fun all the time. It's more about accepting the emotions as they come.
I also don't think it's true that everyone thinks that they might die at any moment, because the way that we treat each other certainly seems like that's not the case. Like, most people act as if they're going to live forever, and this is like a trial run. Most people don't act as if this is it and this is the only chance we've got.
Yeah, okay. So you think some people do, some people don't?
I think some people do, and I don't necessarily think the people who dwell on death a lot are happy people to be around. They're the Morrisseys of the world.
Are they?
I think so.
Okay, and Morrissey is not a happy person to be around.
He's not a happy guy.
Okay, so anything on this side of the table? Do we need to be aware of this? Are we treating life as if it's a trial run?
I don't know. I think it's sometimes you can overthink these things. It's good to just go out and try something new, but as long as it's not bad for you, Yeah. Sorry, I know this is a bit vague, but I just wanted to say that it's just important, I think, just to try to step out of your comfort zone. You don't know if it's going to make you more happy or not, because it's like you can't be 24/7 happy, obviously. I think it's better.
It's more important to be uncomfortable than happy, in a way.
Yeah, it's just more important to have goal or something, at least for short term.
New experience, get out of your comfort zone.
A bit of fear always drives everyone, isn't it? Really.
Some fear.
Yeah.
Too. Okay.
Go for it. Fight or flight, innit? Yeah. Is it? That's what. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I just want to remind you youngsters is that although there's a problem that you might be gone too soon, there's also a problem that you might last too long, you know.
Do you feel like that?
Yeah, I think I've had a good innings, you know. I've done my bit.
You feel like you kind of like that. I don't know how do I put this. I mean, surely you want to keep on going and doing your thing.
No, not forever. Not forever. I think there comes a time when you have to go quietly and make room for somebody else.
I suppose when you go, you hope you have your marbles about you still when you go, and you're not like just completely you lost it completely and you're somewhere locked up.
So you can really think about the horror, about all the people you've lost over the years.
I'm thinking more instant, not like you're like dying slowly and then you're thinking about these things. I mean, you go and I mean, as in the fact that you're not like, you've lost your mind completely, kind of thing.
Okay, so there is a certain amount of time that we've got, I suppose, and I guess people are seeing it in a positive sense here today, which I kind of find interesting.
We got some talkers last time around today. Can we talk about that? It's up to you.
Well, I mean, it's kind of. I mean, I don't personally. I think I think it's a subject. It's kind of like, we're talking about.
Not everyone made it to see. This day, and give thanks for the life. I don't particularly want to talk about that subject.
What's the here?
For example. So I actually wanted to say. So yesterday, I experienced something I've never done before. I went to do live drawing.
Yeah.
And it was so cool because it turned out really challenging. You realize that, it's actually quite challenging to draw a human body. Yeah, you should try.
Yeah.
I've done live drawing a couple of times. I didn't really enjoy it very much. You kind of get over the whole naked body thing.
Can you explain what live drawing is?
Oh, it's just when like a naked person, sits in the middle of a room and then everyone kind of draws them. But I think that's kind of interesting.
Whenever I did live drawing, I was always thinking about how much they were getting paid, and I was thinking like, oh, it's kind of weird that they're getting paid for this, and like, are they really there because they're really here because they sort of appreciate the artistry, or are they kind of here to get the cash? And then I'm like, am I a bad guy? Like,
so there's a lot of thinking when you should really be thinking about
artistic prostitution.
I mean, I guess we're talking about life here, but now we're talking about a different aspect of life, which is the life drawing.
I think it's just like any model. It's just a modeling job, but you just do whatever you ask.
Were you thinking this, Victoria, when you were drawing?
I just was thinking, that's the thing, you don't really think about a model as a person too much. You kind of just kind of fascinated by the lines and how her body looks so different at different angles. It's it was really cool to see this like a very differently shaped body to what you see like in the magazine, because she was a bit like, oh, there's a bit of like tummy or something like that. It's just so fascinating to see a human body in front of you like this.
Could that not be an argument for going to a strip club? Like, you can appreciate the form, the body of a woman, like you can really see how it works and how it spins around a pole at a really fast speed.
Have you been to a strip club?
I have been to one strip club. Actually, I went to two.
Yeah.
I went to one in Prague. It was a very creepy atmosphere. In fact, they were both creepy atmospheres.
Yeah.
The creepiest thing was that when I went to the one where I'm from, they were in the same year that I was in uni.
Yeah. Can you give us a final thought before you go?
Of what?
Anything you want, anything.
We lost our mum today, and she was the heart of the East End.
Yeah.
And she always smiled. She had not a bad word to say about anyone.
And she
and that's
here
what life
every week.
Yeah, and that's what life is about. Not criticising people. You shouldn't go around criticising people. Think about your own person yourself before you criticise anyone else. And that's what we're saying. Here's to Lil. Lillian
Yeah,
Short.
take a bigger glass. Yeah.
Cheers. May she rest in peace.
Yeah.
Cheers. She was an amazing lady for the East End. Thank you. But don't criticise anyone else until you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's beautiful. Thanks for that. And thanks for. So, pretty real. That's what happens, you know. People pass away, but I think, you know, I think, in a way, I don't think I ever met. Did people meet Lil around the table? Yeah.
Yeah, she was amazing.
Yeah.
We had a birthday party for her recently.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
She's just a really nice person.
Yeah.
She got stroke 2 times, but still she's. They got us pushing her, some pushing her, but she's still laughing.
Yeah.
She always make us laugh. You never see her. She's upset.
Yeah.
And she cannot even talk. She cannot even move. Today she's died.
Yeah.
And she's 82.
Yeah.
And she was a happy woman. I see her. Yeah.
Like, where's your drink? She wouldn't even say anything. It's like that.
Yeah.
It's all about celebrating the person, you know, of life, isn't it?
I mean, you know, and I think you were maybe, Aisha, a little bit worried about, because we were talking about, you know, really life and death. But I think, I don't know, I think.
Listen, I'm the best you can talk about anything.
Yeah.
I lost 3 months ago my husband, 30 years.
Really?
Yeah. And it's not surprised me.
Yeah.
Because I know when your time's up, your time's up.
Yeah.
But some people, after can handle, some people can handle it dead.
Yeah. I mean, is it something that we need to actually talk about more?
Yeah, it should be, because we know where we all go with it.
Yeah.
If it's somebody knows where doesn't go in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's the one thing we can be
It's the
certain about.
one thing we all share. That's one day we're all gonna go. Whether it's like.
We're not far away from the Mexican Day of the Dead, right? It's like next month, right? It's not Halloween. It's like next month, right?
1st of November.
1st of November, and of course the way that the Mexicans celebrate death, I mean, they celebrate the people that they've lost, and that day when all the souls come back and they leave offerings. Yeah, sure, right? I mean, I don't know exactly, but it's an amazing thing, and they really don't think of death as being like a huge negative. They see it as a process, as a ritualistic, important part of life. They see it as something that is worth, people who are worth remembering and people who are worth celebrating.
Okay. So, I mean, do we view death in too much of a negative way? Is it about something that we know that we have to come to and that we face, but we also celebrate, and we celebrate the people?
Yeah, I have thought about often, how I might like to go. Do I want to be buried, cremated?
Yeah.
So I've often thought I wouldn't mind being put in a piece of jewellery. You can do that. You can, get your ashes mixed into a bit of gold or something like that. I wouldn't mind getting that. So that's
okay.
What's
that? I think that's lovely. The idea that you can put someone in a piece of jewellery, but my family, they're not so keen on that idea. My grandfather was like, "Yeah, I'll make you into a necklace."
Haunted item, right?
That's how you look at it, I guess.
Yeah. Okay, so
I would personally like to be turned into a beer mat.
Right, a beer mat.
If it's possible.
Okay. Maybe we could go around the table and find out what people would like to be turned into once they've died. So I've got a beer mat from Bob. We've got Elam's piece of jewellery. Anybody else going to throw something in? What would you like to be turned into?
No, you can just trebuchet my body somewhere or something like that.
Okay, yeah.
Well, I'm worried that the world is suffering from stress.
Yeah.
And I think that's because we're all slaves to our cell phones, and that's the cause of all the stress, and the only solution is to smoke cannabis.
So what, you get yourself turned into a joint? Is that what you're saying? Okay, yeah.
When you bury somebody, it's too much money. My husband's cost me 4,400.
Right. Yeah.
And I didn't even accept it. Just died, just to me, 3 weeks.
Yeah.
But I tell Marcus, just throw me in the river.
Throw you in the river, really?
When I'm dying.
The River Lee or the River Thames?
Anyway, I don't want anybody pay me that own money.
Okay, well, you heard it here, internet, so, we've got it. That's an official will and testament. Throw me in the river. Have you got a final thought before you go? Thank you. Okay, so we're talking about, I guess, it's kind of got very deep. Nick, what would you, if you were going to be turned into something, just run away? I would guess that what he means really is a beer glass. He would turn himself into a beer glass.
I did hear about a band recently where they pressed a record with the lead singer's mother's ashes are actually within the record itself. Right. So they spread it across like 100 records or something. I thought that was a bold move on his part because he's obviously saying, anyone who owns this record is someone who I respect enough to own a piece.
You can be like pressed into vinyl. I've heard about this. Yeah.
Okay, so you can be pressed into a record. What would you want to? I mean, we weren't really talking about what you want to.
Yeah, if you die, what would you want to come back as?
I don't know.
So far we've got
my wine first.
So far we've got what have we got? We've got
trebuchet.
What's that?
Beer mat, trebuchet.
I don't know what
iPhone.
What is a trebuchet?
A trebuchet is like a medieval weapon, right?
Oh, a catapult. Yeah.
As a catapult.
Yeah. A big spliff. Piece of jewellery, just throw her in the river, and then you'd like to be a Fabergé egg. So we've got a trebuchet and a Fabergé. Yeah. What were you, Naz?
I wouldn't say I'd come back as a person again, and if I don't, I've always said to my kids, if I'm ever gone, just like make a cup of tea and I'll be there.
So maybe we'll make you into a teapot.
Yeah.
That's so cute.
Yeah. Okay. So that's where we are right now.
So it doesn't have to be an inanimate object.
No.
Sorry, I thought that's what we were doing.
We started off with an inanimate object because I'll just give you the thread of this conversation because basically we talked about you can get your ashes pressed into a record or a piece of jewellery, but
But that's not fun, is it? Because you can't do anything.
Okay, I'll come back to you. Craig?
I don't know, a piece of space dust, something that travels
You'd like
through
to be
the galaxy.
fired into space.
Something that travels through the galaxy.
Okay.
We are space. Initially, we're made up of everything space, so we are space.
We start off as space dust, but then
We're kind of bound to, one...
the planet Earth, yeah. Okay, so you'd send yourself back into space to
I'm bound just like...
just floating in space. In many eons, you'd reform as another being on a different planet, perhaps.
We are made from stardust.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it would be nice to be like a big, fat book.
Right.
That somebody reads and they're like, oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So a book.
Be a sexual moment. I go, they're reading. They're turning my pages.
I thought that story maybe like 3 years ago now, where that 14 or 13-year-old girl, she was campaigning to be frozen after she died because I think she had a terminal illness, and then her dad didn't want her to, but in the end she won. So she's now frozen, and maybe in like 100 years' time she might
be defrosted,
be brought back to life, really. And that was in the UK, so I thought that was quite an interesting story.
Imagine waking up 100 years, like you don't know anybody, you don't have any support structure, you don't know the world, and then like you're just stuck into it.
Okay.
Yeah. But they're still...
At that point, Talkaoke will be in every bar, and you just walk in and just go, "I've just woken up after 100 years."
You feel a bit used, Bob, for being a beer mat.
Yeah.
You feel a bit used, though, being a beer mat.
I hope so.
You wouldn't want to be.
I hope I'm well used.
You wouldn't want to be an ornamental beer mat.
No, absolutely not. Not on the mantelpiece. It better be on the bar.
Okay. You'd want to be on the bar, not on the mantelpiece.
Okay. I want to come back as the child of
Yeah.
like either a Kanye West Kim Kardashian duo or like a Beyonce Jay-Z child. Like any of their children, I would be one of them.
Okay.
Because you've got all the like socio-economic advantage and also like the lifestyle would be amazing.
Yeah, okay.
Like seriously. I would be any of their children.
Okay. Well, I mean, in a way, Judith, we've sort of moved on from what we want our remains to be turned into to what we want to come back in. So we're sort of in a way, but I think we could go around again and just talk about what we want to come back as a person or as a
You all dream whatever you want, but you know what it is. You'll be in the dust.
Yeah. Well, that's what Craig is saying, and Craig's excited about being dust. But now I think it's if we just see this as a thought experiment, we could talk about what we wanted to come back with, and Judith, it's the child of Kanye West, Kimye, but it's also like almost the quadruple child of Kim Kardashian, Kanye West, Jay-Z, and Beyonce. So that's how fantastical we're getting with this. What would you want to come back as if you were going to come back as a person, and it could be any person in the future, in the past?
Oh, and the past.
As a part, why not? Why not? Yeah.
Any person.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I would love, I know everyone's going to really not like this, but I would love to be Robert Mugabe. Because, no, wait. Because, actually, if you go back before all of the unfortunate moments where he became, like, wild with power, his actual developmental trajectory initially was amazing. Like, he came, my favourite song started from the bottom, now we're here. Like, he's very much one of those people, and then ended up going to this church school and just taking in the information from this teacher.
He went a bit too far.
And unfortunately, he could have been a Nelson Mandela, but Nelson Mandela was the Nelson Mandela of the day, so he had to be like, so, what's that bloody cartoon with Megamind? He had to be Megamind in that moment, where it's like, I've got to have some status, so maybe if I'm evil. No, that's horrible, actually. I shouldn't say that because he did really unfortunate things. But up until a certain point, he was an incredible human being who was so resilient and drew on, like, cognitive capacities that one could not ascertain without just self-determination.
Okay.
So I would like to be him so I could rectify some of the negative decisions.
Okay, so you would be Robert Mugabe, but when he went too far, you would be like, oh, hang on a sec,
No,
maybe.
but if I were him, then I could prevent those things from happening, because I would focus on virtuous,
I get that. I get the point.
decisions
Yeah,
instead
absolutely.
of.
Yeah. What's that? Yeah. Okay.
Art student.
Okay. Would you be Adolf Hitler then?
Maybe to stop what happened, maybe.
Okay, so you'd be Adolf Hitler, but a more conscientious, a more considerate Adolf Hitler.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, well, no, this is interesting where this is going. We've got a new face at the table. What's your name? Rasheen. We've got Victoria, we've got Rick, we've got John, we've got Ellen, we've got Usher, we've got Loretta, we've got Naz, Judith, and Craig. My name's Mikey. Come and join the table. Who would you want to be reincarnated as? That's what we're talking about.
From, because she's a Roisin and I have a Roisin, and Neve and an Ailish, they're my very good friends. So, I'm Ghanaian and Jamaican, but I was born here. Obviously there's Ireland around the table, but I'm so interested now that I know. And Russia. Sorry, go on. No, I've done mine. I've done mine. Ghana, Jamaica parents, born here. Go, Mike.
Oh, you're Polish, no?
Oh, sorry, where
are you from?
I'm from Latvia. Yeah, it's the Baltics.
What's that?
It is Russian, but it's.
Well, maybe we'll let the Latvian explain. Is Latvia Russia?
My best mate.
It's Baltic country, so it's
on the
just
Baltic, okay.
from across the sea from Finland.
Yeah. Okay. But is it part of Russia?
It used to be part of USSR, and then it's like back in 19th century.
Yeah.
No, in 18th century it was part of Russian.
The Russian Empire.
Empires
yeah.
also.
But right
It's
now
been
it's not part
independent.
of Russia.
No.
Okay.
It's not been for like over 100 years.
Okay, so we're at crossroads now. Do we want to go for, hang on, do we want to go for the reincarnation thing, or do we want to go around and ask where everybody's from? Let's have a show of hands.
Now that I know we could do
You want to do reincarnation? Where people are from, or reincarnation?
Because I only thought it was like after.
Okay, we're going to do reincarnation, so we're going to move that. We just focused on Victoria, where she's from, but sorry, no one else. We're kind of parking that.
Fair then. Now that Victoria and I have shared our heritage, I think everybody should share that, and then we jump.
Okay, well let's have a show. Let's have another show of hands. Where's everyone from? Okay, all right. We're going to go on the table, find out where you're from and what you'd like to be reincarnated as. Okay, all right.
I'm from England, Wales, and I like my stardust. I don't want to be reincarnated.
You don't want to be a person?
Another person. I've done that. Like,
okay. Where are you from? What's your name?
My name's Nick. I'm from London town.
Yeah.
And
where's the town bit of London?
Come on, you've got to go.
Well, it's called London.
Ancestry.
But it's
city
London.
of London.
It's London.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there shouldn't be a discrimination between north and south.
Okay.
But if there is,
We
I'm
had
from the
that.
south.
Yeah. And what would you like to be reincarnated as, Nick, from South London?
I must
North
say,
Londoner.
Or at least an East. It's VIP.
to be honest, I am an adopted East Londoner now.
Right,
so
okay.
reincarnated as a mosquito, just to really piss people off.
Who would you bite? Who would you
Everyone.
bite? Everyone. Okay. Okay. Naz, where are you from, and what would you like to be reincarnated?
I'm East End London born.
Yeah.
My parents are from Pakistan and China. My kids are Irish, half Irish. And I'd like to come back as the Queen Bathory, I think her name is. She killed loads of virgins and and bathed in her blood. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Loretta, I know you said I love Hitler, but you've got a chance to change it.
No, I was just saying, like,
So where are you from, and what would you like to be
I'm from northwest London, and my mum's Welsh, my father's from Malta. And I don't know what I'd be reincarnated as. Maybe Florence Nightingale, maybe.
Okay. Okay. Where are you from?
I'm from here.
Yeah.
I live 10 years here, but I'm from Somalia.
Yeah. So Poplar stroke Somalia.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what would you like to be reincarnated as?
I don't believe it. I'm sorry.
Yeah. You wouldn't want to say, even if it's just as a thing. And maybe an angel.
Yeah, angel make the peace.
What's that?
Peace.
Bees.
No one fighting it. No one yeah.
A bees. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was born in Hackney. My family are from Jamaica. Exactly. And you know what? I want to be reincarnated as a wealthy person, but maybe like 50 years from now with the same family. So a little bit boring, but I think the wealth is definitely going to be. Yeah, exactly.
So you'd be reincarnated as your granddaughter.
Yeah, there you go. Great or something
that is like an heir to the Talkaoke fortune.
There you go. You said it. Yeah, you said it. Pretty much.
Okay, yeah.
I'm from Johannesburg, but my heritage is probably 19th century, early 20th century German or Eastern Europe, and I don't want to come back.
You don't want to come back?
No, I've been. Thank you very much.
Okay.
It's been great. Nice to know you all.
What about as the same person all over again?
If I could remember all the things that happened to me the first time round.
Yes, I'm half English, half Lebanese, and I'm from Nigeria, which is randomly. But I wouldn't want to come back actually either. So
not at all.
Not at all. No, I don't want to be. No, I don't. Well, who knows when I'm going to go? But I can't
not
be
even as Kanu or something like that.
No, I'm a goalkeeper now, so but so no, I wouldn't want to come back.
I'm from Chichester,
Okay.
I think they deserve to be like a dead silence at that point.
Chichester. Chichester.
And I'd like to come back as a snail.
Really? Any particular type of snail?
Well, actually, yes. Thank you for asking, Mikey. I would like to come back as a snail with one of those like really nice creamy ceramic shells. You know the ones I'm talking about. Those are the bog standard snail. It's got those shiny, nice ones. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, maybe like a birch tree somewhere in the middle.
A birch tree?
Yeah, somewhere in the middle of Siberia, something like that.
Okay, Siberian birch tree.
I'm from East London, sorry. The Irish is very fraudulent, so my grandmother is and my dad wishes he was, hence the name. Yeah. My sister is Maeve though, so... Is it R-O-I-S? Yeah, it's the annoying way, yeah. The proper way, with all the accents and everything. Yes, amazing. I would not want to be reincarnated as anything either. I'd rather go forward and see new stuff. Live longer.
Okay.
See new stuff. So Lucifer would be interesting.
So basically you trade in your next life to extend your current life. Is that what you're saying? You talk to it's kind of trading.
We live in the most technologically advanced time when least people die of horrible things. I want to go forward. I want to go back to horrible stuff.
You would be happy to get old and be a kind of cyborg, like with artificial everything.
I don't want to get body old because that sucks, but otherwise, yeah.
Okay. All right.
I started.
I've forgotten now. I've forgotten. Oh yeah, you're from England, Wales, and you want to be.
Your turn.
No, I don't have a turn. Let's go to the bar.
And I'm
Yeah. Okay, my name's Mikey. I'm from Gravesend in Kent. And if you want to know why I'm from Gravesend in Kent, just ask this man over here. Because, why exactly? Why Gravesend? Anyway, but I guess I live in Hackney. If I was going to be reincarnated, I don't know. I haven't been thinking about it really because I've been seeing. Yeah. I think you know what? I think I'd be a dancer. I would be like Rudolf Nureyev, but like a more contemporary version of that in the future.
You can be a dancer now. Let's do it.
I am a dancer.
You could be
I am a dancer.
What is his genre?
Ballet.
Oh yeah, I could actually see gracefully. Yeah, the graceful dancing.
Okay, so there you go. Anyone from the bar? What would you be reincarnated as? Where are you from?
Come on, Kev.
Reincarnated.
Pull them. Naz, pass that along.
Where you die? Where you want to be?
This is Sheila. I want to be me.
Do you think you would be more you in the next time than you are this time?
More me in the next time.
Yeah. Okay, so you'd actually be more you than this time around.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Okay, Wayne, what would you be reincarnated as? Would it just be you again? You agree? He's pretending he can't talk now. Have you got laryngitis? Yeah.
Oh, it doesn't work.
Yeah. Okay, anyway, alright, so there we go. I need a pee actually, so we need somebody else to go in the middle here. Anyone volunteer? Do you want to have a go, Dad?
Doing what?
Being in the middle here.
No, it's past my bedtime.
Okay, Judith's going to have a go in the middle. Now, one thing about going in the middle, Judith, just before you jump in, and you have to sign up to this. I don't know if you've noticed, I will get you a wine. I don't know if you've noticed, I've not said any of my opinions at all. So when you're in the middle, you've got to sit on your own opinions and just find out what other people think. Apart from that, you can do whatever you want. Obviously, don't ignore. So let's give Judith a massive round of applause. She's going to go in the middle of the tables. So many questions, so little time. Exactly. So this is a historic moment. We're getting Judith in the middle of the table. Whoops.